Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Hoisington making just their second ever state championship game appearance in school history Saturday afternoon in a snow-filled afternoon in Salina. Come up empty on the scoreboard, losing at Nemaha Central by a score of 28-14.
We have a chance for a big play early. We don't quite execute it. And that kind of hurt us. And then I thought 6 was the difference in the game. We didn't tackle him very well. And so give him credit. That's what these games are going to come down to is guys stepping up and making plays.
Oxen in motion. They're going to throw a crossing pattern. Caught right, starting, angling 25 up the sideline. 15, inside the 5. Touchdown! Kansas City!
Yeah, he's had to bounce back. When you have a short week and you're playing a team like the Raiders, always plays you tough. You have to bounce right back. You wash it, you learn from it, and then you kind of just go back to the fundamentals and working.
Beck drops, 3-man rush. Beck fires right, caught. This is Jalen Knoll. He'll have to make men miss. He scoots down the sideline, and there goes Jalen Knoll. It's going to be another long touchdown for Iowa State.
He keeps it, running the option, and Bean now shows you the wheels. He's got the burners. There he goes, Jason Bean, touchdown.
Makes a handoff, back to pass. Late blitz comes, throws near side, pass is caught by Isaiah Rex. Fumbles the football, the Cowboys have recovered. Is it a fumble or is he down? It's a fumble. The Cowboys have recovered. Is that it? It is. We're going to Arlington.
Milrose stands in, lets everybody get downfield. Still standing. He throws into the end zone. It's caught. It's caught by Isaiah Bond.
Inside handoff, Corum. He's got a hole. Corum breaks a tackle to the 10, to the 5. Blake Corum to the end zone. Touchdown, Wolverine.
It was a good win. They do a great job, and this is a tough place to play. And I was just real pleased with our guys and our effort and our ability to make some adjustments throughout the game.
There you go. Sounds of the weekend. 10 of them. We could have had more in there. Welcome to Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB. 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. Welcome into the Monday Sports Day show. Steve Webster joined by Aaron Clark, Mike Corson, and Mike Hesher. Boy, plenty of things to dig into on the show today. We're going to talk about them all. That was a fun viewing weekend.
The 11th sound was me crying that most of my teams lost. Bad weekend of football.
Well, your Washington team.
That's okay. I said most. Yeah, that was the one, I think, NKU, but
Oregon.
Are you an Oregon fan at this point because of your newfound affliction with the Huskies?
Harry the Husky, baby.
He's out on puddles. The puddles have dried up for Mike Corson.
Is Harry the Husky? Are you serious or just
another great Northwestern mascot?
Okay, Pac-12 doing well. They may have 2 teams in the college football playoffs this year. Okay, let's get us started here today. Sounds of the past 24 hours or so. Cole Reif with the game wrap-up on Great Bend Post. Nemaha Central 28, Hoiston Cardinals 14, 7-6 game at halftime. The game got away from the Cardinals in the third quarter. Zach Baird said number 6 was a difference. You think, Mike Corson?
Yeah, that's their sophomore quarterback. Obviously saw the stats coming in, about 3,000 total yards, most of it on the ground. Gosh, 98, 99% of their plays go through him, and that's what it was Saturday at, 49 of 51 carries I think they accounted him for.
Is it Carter?
Carter
Hike.
Yep, Jay Silent. Big kid, doesn't look like a sophomore, and they pretty much contained him first half. I think he had runs of 33 and 49 yards in the second half, kind of started pulling away. I tell you, it was big. They come down, take 6 minutes off the clock, right off the bat, score. This is kind of what it looked like on paper. Then after that, it was a defensive battle, but right off the bat, Hoisington forces a punt deep in Nemaha territory. Probably not used to punting, especially in the snow. Goes over his head into the end zone. Boy, a safety or a touchdown would have been huge. He actually it was the punter that threw a pass, but it was called back on a penalty. But it wasn't a turning point in the game. Obviously, it's way too early, but man, if that had been a safety or a touchdown, it would have been huge.
What were the playing conditions like? I mean, I was watching. It didn't look like it was. How much did they pay those guys that cleared the lines off?
You have no idea. I actually said, I hope you guys are getting paid for this. And I think, no kidding, they said, we're not paying them. They might get cookies or something.
How many of them were
breathing
there?
hard? At least 3, but probably more on the sideline. I just kept watching the guys. When the play was down on one quarter, they would go scoop the lines on the other end.
They weren't like high school kids either, were they?
No, supposedly Salina maintenance staff. And the supervisor was down there, and he's the one that said to the other guy, well, if I'm out here, these guys aren't getting paid. Well, maybe we'll give them cookies. They were breathing hard.
Yes.
It's hard. So you saw how much they were scooping off continually. First quarter really had the big white flakes. Other than that, it was kind of the small stuff, but it was accumulating probably, 3 to 4 inches on the unkempt parts.
So 49, this was a throwback, and Mike and me were talking this morning about we should get the electric football game out because you could run the offensive sets for Nemaha Central, right? And they had the Bass kid in the backfield. How big is he? Like 2'6", 280, and he was lined up in the backfield as a blocking back. Hoiston liked that play because Caden Hoffman started to do the same thing, and they were rolling off him. There were some pass plays made. In fact, a key pass play on the opening drive for Nemaha Central got him a big first down and got him down closer to the goal line. And then Hoiston really didn't try to throw a lot until that final drive when they went down and got their second and final touchdown. But, yeah, it was basic football, which is too bad because I would love to see these two teams play on a fast track. But that's what happens when you try playing football a couple days after November. But I thought that was, or after Thanksgiving, I thought that was a big disadvantage for Hoiston because that was I thought that was their advantage going into the game was their big play potential, and I think that was nullified, obviously, by the snow.
It talked about it with some administration before the game, who has the edge in the snow. Thought maybe the lineman wouldn't be able to push off if that was your big thing. Didn't look like it impacted Nemaha at all. Didn't look like it affected Tony Moore at all. He had over, 130-ish yards. He was able to break some big plays, but every time Taryn Kraft got the ball, I'm telling you, that line penetrated immediately. And so when Hoisington needed those passes, I think that game wasn't there like it has been. So I do think it impacted Hoisington more. The other kid to throw out there, Jason Robinson, crazy finish to the season, yet another interception, which is what led to Hoisington's really first touchdown that mattered in the game.
Okay, I'm going to throw this out there, and everybody over in Hoiston can get angry and stuff. It's just an observation. It's once I'm sitting what do they call that? The post game where you see what happened, and then you can say, I wish Hoiston would have punted on their first possession of the second half because it was 4th and 7, and maybe they had a play, but they could have flipped the field right there because Tony Moore was the way Hoiston punted it. You can't put a guy back because he's still in the shotgun formation, and maybe you change the field position there because they don't get it, and then that led to the touchdown, and then they come back, and then they had the turnover on the next possession. But that first 8 minutes of the third quarter really changed that. And again, I saw what happened, so if you'd have made the 4th down play, I probably would have said, yeah, that's a heck of a play. But, man, field position on a day like this was huge.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened first half to second half.
You're leading 7-6. I mean, that's
if you flip the field, would it matter? Because he did nothing. Hake really did nothing in the first half, but that second half's when he started getting longer runs. So I don't know if there was a tiring effect, but yeah, did they make adjustments that he was able to break free? Because he was way more effective in the second half. So yeah, you can say maybe they should have field position, but
well, shoulda, coulda. Yeah, I'm just saying that's another option maybe you would have had because if they're going 3 and 4 yards in a cloud of snow, and he did get some bigger runs, but make him drive the field a little bit. What kind of shape do you have to be in? I mean, it's been a long time ago since I played football, but those high school games are the most tired I've ever been in my entire life. You're playing both ways. He played both ways, and he carries the ball 49 times, and he's playing defense, and he's getting mauled every time. I mean, I don't know how many times Hoffman came right down on him, and that was an incredible performance.
Yeah, and like the wideouts too. Imagine it's almost like running in sand. So if you're a defensive back and a wideout, really on both sides, but Hoisington had better threats there. Yeah, there was a time late in the game, Tony Moore has to cover up a fumble, dives in the snow, and immediately has two monsters just jump on his back. I'm like, you're face down in the snow, you're getting beat. That's not a fun Saturday.
Wish it had been a game on a fast track, but it didn't happen that way. Other results, Mill Valley pulls away in the second half, 62-37 over Capon.
We'll take it.
I was thinking Capon was going to make it interesting in the second half, but glad to see Mill Valley get one over on a private school.
Well, okay, there you go. Okay, Gardner-Edgerton 22, Derby 19. Gardner-Edgerton, that's back-to-back for them, isn't it? I believe. St. Thomas Aquinas, this doesn't work out for your private schools, Aaron.
Andover Central gave it their best.
35-7. Cheney wins the state championship. What a remarkable season. 34-7. Their head coach is an interesting cat. When they talk to him after the game, it's like talking to one of the parents. You know, boy, that was really a really cool deal that we got.
Probably not like he's not well versed. Cheney usually does well across the board in sports, but kind of felt those two Andale games were the state title game.
Oh my gosh, Conway Springs back in the state championship run. They lost their first two games of the year. They run the table, beat Jeff County North 35-6 at the 1A in Hayes. 8-man one in Newton.
Linden.
34-6. I expected that maybe to be like the first quarter score.
I think it would have been on a dry day. I think Joey Barr was down there, I believe. I think it was a pretty wet snow. We had some wet snow in Salina, but it was more of a cold snow. But he said it was wet down there, and I think that slowed everybody down except Heckle.
Axtell, another Highway 36 team, are just off Highway 36. They take care of South Central 50-0. Shiloh over Cunningham 57-8. Okay. Call yesterday on B1043 The Point. Patrick Mahomes, a 39-yard TD pass to Rasheed Rice. That put Kansas City ahead of Vegas 29-17. Chiefs fell down 14-0. It reminded me of a basketball game because when a team comes out and just keeps hitting three-pointers, I mean, the throws that backup quarterback was making, the kid from Purdue, I mean, they were right on the money. And I thought the Chiefs were playing some pretty good defense. They finally got their running game going. Bless Andy Reid. Not only once did he try to run the ball on second down from the one, he did it again on third down. And they scored a touchdown. Kansas City, I thought, was pretty impressive. That's one of their best performances they've had in a while. They outscore the Raiders 31-3 after falling down 14-0. Patrick Mahomes talking about bouncing back after that loss to the Eagles, 298, 2 touchdowns, and they found a way to get Travis Kelce open.
That's the big thing. Travis Kelce, getting him a little more involved in the passing game. I don't know what the deal was against the Eagles, and he didn't have a bad game. He went off for 7 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown against Philadelphia, but obviously had
Either
that big
they made
drop.
They made an adjustment, or the Raiders are the dumbest defensive team in America, right?
They ignored Tyreek Hill's advice. Just focus on Kelce, and then it makes it hard on the rest of the Chiefs. But I also think in division it does make it a little trickier just because Andy Reid may have thrown in some wrinkles. You have a lot more film to watch on the Raiders than you traditionally do a normal team.
Rasheed Rice is a key for that team, and he had a very good game. Hopefully he can continue his growth. Chiefs were short-handed a little bit. They're missing 2 receivers, a running back.
It's that time of year. Injuries start plaguing them, but I like the way they were using Rasheed Rice. He started moving a little more horizontally across the field and on some screens. Earlier in the season, I thought they were using him down the field, and he does have that kind of speed, but you get it to him in short situations or when he's moving across the field, and he can make a guy miss.
Chiefs play at Green Bay. Are you okay? You're injured.
Yeah, playing injured, but the big guy doesn't ever go silent, so we didn't know what was checking his mic.
I didn't know if you were going to allow. I didn't want to cut Webby off.
The Broncos win again. 29-12 over Cleveland.
I think they're going to get, they're only like 2 games out of the wild card at this point.
They're fully in the wild card conversation. I think they currently have a better footing in the playoff race than the Buffalo Bills. Even they're rolling right around there, competing with I think Pittsburgh and for a wild card spot. I don't know. It could easily happen. Who knows? Maybe 2 teams make it from the AFC West into the postseason.
4 teams tied for the number 1 seed in the AFC. Okay, some play-by-play calls. John Walters a call Saturday. Jalen Knowles scores from 82 yards out. Cyclones 42-35 win. Their shortest scoring play on Saturday was a 33-yard pass from Rocco Beck to Jaden Higgins. That came in the 4th quarter. Where did Abu Sama III come from?
He's a true freshman, is he not?
276 and 3 touchdowns. That was a shocking. I know K-State wasn't, they'd been eliminated from being able to go for the Big 12 title, but Iowa State, their offense hasn't really done anything all year, and then to go in and put that up against K-State, that was a surprising result for me.
Remember when Kraft had the big game for Hoisington, and it was like video game numbers? That's one thing to see against a mediocre high school team. To see it at Division I against the reigning Big 12 champ was crazy. I do blame the snow in that one. I don't think he would have made all those runs on a dry turf. He was able to spring it, but the guys weren't able to adjust.
Well, but it goes both ways because he's having to run in that snow too. Makes it harder to cut up field, makes it hard to get your footing. And I think it's kind of discouraging to see from K-State, a team that likes to pride themselves on having pride, especially playing at home at Bill Snyder Family Stadium, to let an Iowa State team, like Webby said, that the offense hasn't really looked all that great. They lost their starting quarterback earlier this year to the Iowa State betting gambling scandal. Now they come in and hang that many points on K-State at home. Tough look before bowl season.
Yeah, I bet against the Cyclones this weekend and got burned.
So how do we gauge the K-State regular season?
Ups
That'd be
and
a
downs.
disappointment, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
What is it, still 4 losses by what, now a total of 21 points?
Yeah, but man,
Yeah, it's disgusting as a fan that you're that close, and it was kind of that way last year. It was a great team, won the Big 12, but a couple early close games just throws everything off.
With the expectations they had coming into the year after last year, they were at least expecting, I think, to get back to the title game, if not repeat as champions. Would have been a much harder contest this year, given what Texas has, given what some of the other or what other Big 12 schools have, and that became apparent on the year. Kansas State struggled, and they struggled again in the final week.
Yeah, that was the kicker. Saturday you had, about 3 scenarios where K-State could advance to the Big 12 title game. I think the Oklahoma State game was still going, but all 3 of them worked against K-State, so there was 0 chance.
In Cincinnati, Jayhawks had the bean back in their diet, right? Jason Bean scoring from 43 yards out, put KU up on Cincinnati 35-16. They go on to win the game 49-16. So KU and K-State going bowling. We'll find out next Sunday what game that they will be going to. The Big 12 title game is set. How about Oklahoma State? That was a fun. I was in the storage shed. I was in the garage shed for those games. I had the heater going. It was perfect. It was the winter snow was coming down. And I was watching Oklahoma State rally at the same time, Alabama. Dave Hunsicker with a call Saturday on the Cowboy Network. Oklahoma State's Trey Rucker ripped the ball from Isaac Rex after a catch, then recovered the fumble. That ended the game in overtime. And then Eli Gold, my man, how in the world? That's what happens when you rush 2 guys, Aaron Clark. You rush 2 guys on that last play, and all day long to throw it, and finally in the back of the end zone he finds it, and Alabama beats Auburn 27-24.
Probably what bugged me more than rushing 2 in that situation, if you're going to rush 2, why do you also drop a QB spy? Because if you have 9 guys potentially in coverage, or 8 guys, whatever, without the spy, and he tucks it to run from 31 yards out, you should probably count on your defense, your secondary, being able to rally to the ball there, and you don't have to waste a man mirroring him in coverage back and forth on the spy, and you could have devoted him to either the pass rush and make it a 3-man rush rather than having 2 offensive linemen be able to at least double team each guy, and then the center also able to go to a side.
That was 4th down and goal.
I don't get it. I would have, I was hoping they might make the path for, which I now rooting for Texas. They're going to be big they're going to be SEC next year, whatever. I'd still like to see them make the playoffs. This year, I was hoping to see Bama lose. That definitely make their path a little easier there, but I don't know. It was a bold call to say the least by Auburn.
I'd send 6 at least. If you send 6, they're not going to be able to get downfield to get to the.
Just something complicated too, not just a stunt. Something. Even if you do only send 3 or 4, twist them, send a knife, something, a dagger on the edge. Just something. Not. I don't know. It was a weird call by Auburn.
Alabama beats Auburn 27-24, and Auburn hasn't been very good at all this year.
No, they lost to New Mexico State last week. Shout out to that coaching staff. A lot of Kansas boys on that coaching staff.
Doug Karsh on Learfield. Blake Corum rushes for 22 yards and a touchdown. Wolverines led 24-17. Michigan goes on to beat Ohio State 30-24. Third straight year.
Hard to call that suspension token when Harbaugh was suspended for that rivalry game, but now the big game's coming. Whoa, he's back on the sideline. Neat.
The big game against Iowa. The matchup we've been waiting all year for.
Hey, Iowa's 10-2.
But they still have to win it to secure their spot.
And
so
they absolutely do. And it's a tough Hawkeye defense. Obviously, Iowa's offense has been the subject of some fun and jokes, some mean words.
And, of course,
they're playing Iowa football.
They are playing Iowa football.
Which really feels like Big Ten football in a way.
And everybody's
just a stout
Big
defense.
10. So I don't think Michigan's a shoe-in to win this game. I mean, who they lose to in the college football playoffs last year? TCU, the team that got rolled by 60.
Well, in
the national championship
Auburn
game.
and whoever played Washington, whoever that was no good. Washington State.
Yeah, the Apple Cup.
Mediocre. Yeah.
Are they, since they're so far away, and Pullman is almost in Idaho more than it is in Washington? Is that a rivalry game?
It gets feisty, and I think the Washington State was a little bit hotter early in the season, but still came down to a really great call from Washington to win that game.
On the 4th down, facing unbelievable call.
Okay, and finally we have some basketball in here. Jeremy Combs, his team goes on the road, stays unbeaten, beat 24th-ranked Cloud on the road 65-53 yesterday. Lady Cougars also won. They held off Cloud 63-58. Barton men and women both at home on Wednesday night against Cowley.
Was some impressive defense in both games, starting off with the women. Barton was able to kind of get out to a hot start. I believe they scored the first 11 points of the game, got out to an 11-0 jump, and then Cloud County came back, made it more of a contest. At the end of the game, they actually had closer to a double-digit lead before a kind of a late storm back from Cloud brought it down to that 5-point deficit. But Lady Cougars get their first true road win of the season. It's in conference play. Nice victory over Cloud. And then the Barton men, they went in, played the top defense in the nation, and obviously didn't put up the points they had on the year, but still enough to win. 65 points, holding Cloud to 53, and that Cloud offense had been averaging over 80. And so the Barton defense showed up, the offense did what they needed to do, and they were even down a man following the suspended game for Keandre Kindle.
Okay. So Barton again at home on Wednesday. We're going to take a break on Sports Day. We'll be back to take a look at some of the weekend headlines for you. Jim Mazunas, also from the Great Bend Tribune, will be joining us here on the program. Sports Day here on KVGB, brought to you in part by Nextech Wireless. Experience wireless built by Kansans for Kansas, and by Equity Bank, your hometown sports partner. Visit one of our 5 local area banks in Great Bend, Larned, Maxville, and St. John. EquityBank.com.
Central and Western Kansas residents, are you looking for a new vehicle? Marmy Auto Group can make it happen. Marmy Auto Group includes Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram, Chevrolet, and GMC. Marmy Auto Group, your Central and Western Kansas dealer, has new and pre-owned vehicles, or we can special order your vehicle today. If your existing vehicle needs serviced, Marmy's award-winning service department can help. Come to Marmy Auto Group on 10th or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
Get started with a career in healthcare through Barton Community College's Pharmacy Technician program. Gain the skills you need to assist pharmacists with the day-to-day demands of a pharmacy. Classes are 100% online and include real-world experiences at a pharmacy near you. Join this essential field in as little as 2 semesters with the flexibility of online classes. Now enrolling. Learn more at farmtech.bartoncccc.edu.
Heavy Duty Diesel and Auto, the place to be today at 3208 Railroad Avenue in Great Bend. Get yourself qualified before 5 o'clock in the Shopping Over the Holidays $10,000 shopping spree from Mater Plumbing, Heating, and Air, your Brian dealer, and Power Computers. Scott Donovan here with Jared. Hey, you've got a winter checkup special going on. Tell us about it.
Yeah, Scott, we're going to do a winter checkup for the next few months. If you bring your vehicle by, whether it's a semi or an automobile or whatever, we'll do an antifreeze, your battery, wipers, check your tire pressure, and all your fluids for $20.
Whoa!
Yeah, we'll do it for $20.
I love it. You want to talk about preventive maintenance. I mean, that's what it's all about.
I don't want to see anybody stranded on the side of the road. You want everybody to be safe on the road. So we're going to do our same winter specials we've always done for the big semi guys when they're in here. But we want to throw automotive back in there a little bit and kind of help the little guys.
Come on in. Check it out. $20 for a winter checkup on your car. Find out more when you stop on by and get yourself qualified today before 5 o'clock at Heavy Duty Diesel and Auto, 3208 Railroad Avenue in Great Bend. Shopping over the holidays, $10,000 shopping spree.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Back on Sports Day, show brought to you in part by the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street in Great Bend and the American Plains Co-op Bulk Fuel Department, your certified Cenex lubricant dealer in Great Bend. Steve Webster along with Aaron Clark, Mike Corson, and Mike Hesher. Jim Azunas will be talking to Jimbo coming up in just a moment. We've got some sports headlines to run by. New AP poll is out. Number 3, Washington. Florida State, number 4. Oregon, number 5. All moved up a spot. Ohio State dropped down. And K-State falls out of the top 25, as you would expect. They'd be ranked 28th. Let's see. Kansas getting 6 votes, so they're at least getting some votes. So Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Oregon, Ohio State, and Texas. Alabama drops or is still at 8. So what do you think the college football playoff committee will decide?
I think tonight it's going to be Ohio State, or tomorrow night rather. Sorry, it's on the release is on Tuesday. It's going to be Georgia still in that top spot. Michigan moves into 2. Washington moves up to 3, and then I think we see Florida State go back in. And I think that College Football Playoff Committee is going to be watching that ACC championship game between Florida State and Louisville, hoping the Cardinals can get an upset. It makes their decision much easier without Florida State having a Jordan Travis. It allows them to slot in whoever they want, whether it's a second team from the Pac-12, it'd be a one-loss. If Oregon wins, it'd be a one-loss Washington team. Or if it's the one-loss Pac-12 champion Texas Longhorns, Florida State getting a loss makes their decision a lot easier.
What if Alabama wins?
Said that they want everybody to win.
There's a lot of possibilities.
What if Iowa wins? What if Alabama wins? Yeah. What if Oregon wins? They want the solid 4 to stay undefeated. Easy decision.
UNLV is going to host Boise State in the Mountain West championship game in Las Vegas Saturday. And you know how they broke their ties? Computer ranking. Remember, we used to use part of this because it was unbiased. There weren't any prejudices in the room. The eye test, which I just hate that. The eye test.
Ask Ohio State how the eye test does.
So after computer ranking was used to break a 3-way tie for first place, Boise State, UNLV, and San Jose State each finished the regular season 6-2 in conference play. So because all 3 teams did not face each other, no team was included in the latest college football playoff rankings. Tie was broken by an average of computer rankings.
And that's an unforeseen side effect maybe of these massive conferences where not everybody plays each other, especially when they're the marquees. That's makes it impossible to have those crucial head-to-heads.
Yeah, and Big 12 does not have divisions, but then you look what happens in the Big 10 when you do have divisions. You've got 10-2 Iowa, who's still 10-2.
They legitimately have a chance of upsetting Michigan. It's just if they do, it's not going to be it's going to be the Michigan offense faltering against a stiff top-tier Hawkeye or defense, but the Iowa offense just does not inspire confidence of scoring more than 21 points against Michigan.
If you only give up like 15.
But look what else that does. Maybe if you have a repeat back-to-back weeks, Michigan, Ohio State, and you split or something, maybe you don't get bumped out. If Michigan loses to an Iowa team, they're definitely not in the top 4.
You just go to districts. You go to the Acacia district. You have 8 districts.
As long as they're
and the
drawn
winner
up fairly, that's
and then
beautiful.
It's not fair.
It never was. We got
never was.
Salina Central, Salina South, and Hayes every year.
We've got to seed the team. Well, who seeds the team? Then we're going to go by records. Let's put them in conferences. If you're a conference winner, you go. Sunday's airing of the late afternoon games on the NFL Red Zone channel literally went code red. The broadcast interrupted when a fire alarm went off in the NFL Network building, which is located across the street from SoFi Stadium and Hollywood Park Complex. Host Scott Hansen informed viewers that his production crew had to evacuate the studio. Would we leave if this place was on fire?
We don't leave when there's tornado warnings outside.
If it's just down in the production studio, we won't. Like, if it's in KHOK, maybe. But if it's just down in
We've
production...
got a fire extinguisher right there.
Look at all this brick.
Absolutely not. I hadn't even thought about that. We're ready. We are the firefighting crew here in the station.
The alarm did not affect pregame preparations for the Ravens and Los Angeles Chargers across the street. Red Zone remained on the game between the Eagles and Buffalo before Hansen and his crew were able to bravely return to the studio a short time later.
You know what it was? It was Flowers' touchdown celebrations were on fire in Fuego. He threw the bouquet over his head. Then he kicked a soccer goal.
What are we required to stay here? Like if we look out and we just see the sky rise over there, just obliterated by tornadoes headed right for here. Are we supposed to stay on the air, or can we go in my office and shut the door?
I think I was informed it's on the air. That's a public service we provide to the community.
But I was under the impression the Mayo Money Management Studios were tornado-proof. Are they not? I thought we got some sturdy walls.
Right there,
and that's why you put the window where you can't look at it. You just cross your fingers and don't look.
We've got some plenty of heavy stuff in front of the windows. That's what you want in case of a tornado.
Yeah, that
right?
window breaks out and there's 3 bowling pins flying around in here.
We're all state champions.
So anyway, the boys, they left and the fire alarm went off. Texas A&M working on a deal to hire Duke coach Mike Elko. So much for going for, let's see, they're still paying $75 million to Jimbo Fisher. So
Best job in America is being a fired football coach.
And he can get another job, too, and he still gets that money.
It's the highest paid Jimbo of all time.
Would you go to work if you were getting paid that much money, Corson?
You can pay me a 12th of that and I won't go to work.
And the other thing, like, if he does want to go to work, quote unquote, he can probably get a job like on the SEC network or something where his job is just to come in and go, well, I don't think Texas A&M is going to be able to beat Louisiana this week, but and then they give him a paycheck.
That's what you get into that cycle. Look at KU. I think they finally got some of those guys off the payroll.
They're still playing Les Miles though, so that's fun.
They got like the club with Bobby Bonilla, Jimbo Fisher. They all hang out on Sundays.
It's like the Heisman house, right?
Yeah.
Okay, bowl season is coming on, the most exciting time of year. When you have games that really mean absolutely nothing, but that's okay. We need to keep the tradition of the bowl season, and I should say, we have a bunch of them here on KVGB. So if you like football, it's coming up in December. Football Bowl subdivision newcomers James Madison and Jacksonville State, along with a 5-win Minnesota, now bound for bowls because of a shortage of 6-win teams. Those 3 teams round out the 82 available spots because only 79 teams achieved the 6 wins necessary for bowl eligibility. James Madison, 11-1, Jacksonville State, 8-4, but they're transitioning to full FBS status. Wouldn't be eligible if there were enough 6-win teams.
That was a big deal at when game day was down there a couple of weeks ago. So interesting that they get beaten now. All of a sudden they can play in bowl games.
I do think it's funny that they applied for bowl eligibility and the NCAA was like, no, you can't. And then now that they don't have enough 6-win teams, like, well, will you come play in our bowl games?
So here's the sad thing, like, growing up, K-State was awful. It got good. It was a really big deal. Go to the Copper Bowl, go to the Holiday Bowl, and it meant a lot to those kids. Now we're used to the 2 or 3 big games, the New Year's games, and maybe some of the other ones. But now you got kids setting out. Now it's all about the sponsorship. I don't even know what the bowl games are anymore. It's just Tostitos and Dr. Pepper and fried
That's the new
bean bowl.
dynamic that came with the playoffs was certain guys, I'm going to the NFL draft. I'm not going to play in the Gator Bowl. What do I have to I don't blame them.
I was going to say, it's hard to knock them with some of the players. The one that stands out to me is former Notre Dame linebacker Jalen Smith. He was playing for him and busted his knee up. Unfortunate. His NFL career never really took off, but there was a time where it was looking like he was going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. Tears his knee, kind of derailed his hopes of playing professionally.
Bowl season.
It's fun though. Love a good Alamo Bowl.
The Bahamas Bowl.
Duke's Mayo.
I don't. What is
The
a Gator Bowl,
Conquest.
Carl, anymore? It's the Tostitos Gator. I don't know. Whatever. Just look on the shelf in the corn chip aisle at your or the potato chip aisle, and you'll probably get like 2 or 3 bowls right there. Oh, Houston Cougars fired coach Dana Holgerson the day after finishing his 3rd losing season in 5 years. We had another firing today too.
Frank Reich out as head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Marks back-to-back seasons where Carolina has fired their head coach during the year. Last year it was Matt Rule. This year Frank Reich, less than 1 year into his full duration. Don't love the look. They have the rookie quarterback Bryce Young. He was the top pick in last April's NFL draft. They gave him 11 games. We saw the Jaguars do something similar with Urban Meyer, but I don't think Reich was committing nearly the coaching malpractice that Urban Meyer was when he was ousted from Jacksonville. Tough look, a lot of instability for Bryce Young. Tough on a young quarterback to try to get your feet under you when you have a coaching change about 12 weeks into your career.
I mean, at the professional level, when you get hired, you're going to get fired sometime.
Is this the Frank Reich that was at Nebraska? Won like 9 games and they canned him? No. That was
No.
Frank.
Frank Solich.
I got you. Thought maybe it was another
Didn't he
one
go
of
to
those.
Ohio and actually did pretty well?
I was going to say maybe they should have kept him at Nebraska given the...
Okay. Basketball season. High school style gets going. Friday, Junction City is in. Panther Fieldhouse.
It's hard to believe football season, even for college, you're used to waking up on Saturday watching a game, but for the last, 12 weeks, where are you going on Friday? So now it's, don't even get a time off when your teams make the finals, though, so straight from football to basketball.
What'd you wear Saturday? Did you wear like a tiger stripe jumpsuit or?
I have my standard Royals blue, and I actually wore some hiking boots. I took a picture of me in the snow in some sandals and made it sound like that, but that's just how I drive.
All right. Sports Day today brought to you in part by Advanced Therapy and Sports Medicine. Get your life back at Eller Automotive Repair, their local mechanic that can help. Behind Great Bend Appliance Furniture and Sleep Source. Monday, Sports Day. We're in transition here. We're kind of between the fall and the winter.
It is. It's weird when we do have these high-end stake football games. Every game is starting to matter. And then basketball season's just in its infancy. Like, we're getting games that, KU lost at the Maui Invitational. Darn,
But they came back to win the next night against Tennessee.
Exactly. The bounce back. Basketball is kind of lighthearted at this point. You're not looking too much into any one loss. Football, though, we're talking who's going to get into the playoffs. There's a nice little duality, nice little reminder how lighthearted sports can be at the start of a season versus the high stakes at the end.
Curious to see how some of the changes. Obviously, Joyner was over in Ellenwood for so long. Britt Dutton, that whole era is gone. New coach, new set of kids. Great Ben has some young kids. But then also swimming twice this week already. Wrestling's coming up. We got a new wrestling coach, Gannon Reichert at Great Bend High School. Obviously, all the success over in Hoisington. So don't sleep on winter season just yet.
And we'll get wrestling updates. We'll get swim updates because Mike Corson will be going back on the prowl very, very soon.
Just give me time. Yep.
It's all part of the Sports Day show here. Jim Mizunis will check in with Jimbo. He's remote working today. Guess it snowed a lot more down there. I don't know. We'll check in with Jim right after this.
Extend the life of your equipment with Cenex Premium Greases. Engineered with quality-based oils and well-balanced formulas to protect equipment in a wide range of temperatures and tough conditions. The Cenex line of grease products offer excellent rust protection, water resistance, and anti-wear properties to extend equipment life. Cenex Grease delivers the dependability you need to keep your operation running like a well-oiled machine.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor today.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Amy Herrera, Regional Retail Manager for your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many people navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you how we're committed to serving you in our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Ryan, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
Venture Corporation is a homegrown company with almost 50 years of experience in asphalt, paving, and construction, and they need equipment operators, mechanics, and CDL drivers. Venture offers many benefits, including 401k and Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Call Leslie for all the details. Work for a family-owned and family-oriented company that is here today and will be here in the future. Venture Corporation, South Highway 281, Great Bend, is an equal opportunity employer.
He's covered more big games than anyone else in the Golden Belt. He might be on your sideline, in your gym, or just about anywhere there's a game. Sports Day presents the Great Bend Tribune's Jim Ozunas.
Jim Ozunas usually joins us in studio, but working remotely today. How are you doing, Jim? You warmed up and thawed out from Saturday.
Yeah, just barely. We had the adventuresome trip up to Salina and back. That was, I don't know, I lost track over-under on cars off the road. I would have missed that one.
Well, I'm glad you made it back safely. And thoughts on the game Saturday, 28-14, a game won by Nemaha Central.
Yeah, it was just one of those lifetime memories for all those students and coaches who were involved in a game like that. The last snow game was in 1985, and ironically, the teams that played in it in Russell were Axtell and Coldwater. The rematch in 2023 was Axtell and Coldwater South Central.
Well, next time with those two teams, they match up again next year.
We'll expect snowstorm. Yes, no question about it.
Then South Central.
It was visited. I tend to, shy away from players after a tough loss, but championship game, hey, your season, you've achieved your Super Bowl, you've gotten to the end of the season. Both players I talked to, Tony Moore and Hoffman, both have blood on their uniform and their fingers, and Hoffman was just thrilled beyond belief that he lines up in the backfield and pulls, goes in motion, and knocks the guy over, and Hoisington scores a touchdown. So just memories that will always be there. Hoisington just got caught up in a great offensive line and in a tremendous package. I've never seen anybody run 49 of 51 plays and account for 53 of the 55 plays. Unbelievable. And it was quite remarkable because he only had 92 yards at halftime and then rushes for 170 the second half. I think there had to be an adjustment or two, but basically it came down to him busting a 33-yard run and a 49-yard run, both where he broke tackles and just made tremendous individual efforts. But Hoisington finally, at the end of the game, near the end of the game, they finally started relying on what they were successful at. They threw the ball downfield on the last drive, very successful. The ironic thing about that is in that game there were 20 passes delivered, no sacks. in K-State's game Saturday night, played in the snow, 60 passes. Give me a guess of how many sacks there were.
None.
0, exactly. So the one advantage you did have that, again, Hoisington figured that out late, was you can't get a pass rush because you're trying to get from spot A to spot B. However, against the running game, if your big guys are just lined up there in line, they can just stand there and wait for the ball carrier. And that worked very well for Nemaha Central. But, yeah, Hoisington, what a tremendous job by their coaches. And you never mind delaying basketball practice for a couple of weeks when you get to the state championship. So congratulations to Coach Baird and Coach Kyle Haxton. Basketball practice was delayed a couple of weeks, but he's okay with that.
Well, I think he's used to that. So he's...
Hoisington. Yeah, and I was counting up the guys. Hoisington's got 11 players with starting experience back, and a nice set of linemen, and Xavier Chambers, Leighton Hoffman, Brady Bryce, C.J. Bryant, and Braden Stevenson. So, really, you look at that, and then you look at the skill guys, Jason Robinson, Taryn Kraft, Kyler Russell, and Mason Martin, some really good skill players. So, yeah, Hoisington will definitely be back in the mix next year. So they've got a tremendous program there, and that's what it's all about. When you have that program, the next group steps up.
It's kind of interesting because if you watch a college game or an NFL game, they're changing the ball out every time. But they've got guys that, that's their job. They're the boy. They're the ball boys. So they may have like 6 or 7 balls out there. They're drying them off, and you have a dry ball each time at a high school, even the championship game. You may have the coach's kid over there as a ball boy, and then he maybe can carry 2 balls, but you can't change it every time. I don't know. But you have special...
No, you're absolutely right. That's a very astute observation because one time Hoisington had a really wet football, and they're just crying for a new ball. And they eventually, with like 5 seconds left on the play clock, they got them a new ball and reset the 25-second clock, which was critical because they ended up getting a pass interference call later in that drive that got them their first touchdown. But you're absolutely right. They were switching out balls. My best photo of the afternoon was after the game's over, Nemaha Central runs their last play. The game's over. The players are, shaking hands on the field. The football is still standing on the field, and I shot a little photo of the football on the field with a little NC marking for Nemaha Central. You're like, why didn't anybody pick up the football here, guys? It's just one of those little memories that was just so funny.
Yeah, it was the weekend, but another state championship for the Hoisington Cardinals. He comes up short, but man, what an effort! What a year I just, again, it's one of those things you wish, Jim, but wish it'd been a beautiful day like all the weeks were during the football season for the most part, and had a dry track. I'd love to see that matchup again.
Yeah, I think that you're right about that because the one game that wasn't played in the snow was Pittsburgh, and what was that score?
62. Yeah, 62-37. So, but
yeah, so and that's sort of what you would have expected, especially in Newton for the 8-man games. Those scores were down, and the scores would have been a lot higher. Yeah, Hoisington's passing game would have been simply more effective on a dry field with the dry everything. But yeah, it certainly favored Nemaha Central. They had one play and they ran it 49 times, so there's certainly an advantage. And congratulations to Lyndon and Tanner Heckel. He was state runner-up twice at Inman and got his state championship at Lyndon in 8-man, so that was a neat deal. Then a little Wyatt Pettigo update. He was second team all-league. North Dakota lost their first playoff game 42-35 to Sacramento State, so almost got to the second round of the playoffs, but congratulations to Pettigo, Hoisington grad who made second team all-league.
Basketball season starts Friday, Jim.
Yeah, I do have a note on that. The new Ellenwood coach, Jaron Lane, his father coached Ellenwood for 6 years until 2005. So Jaron was born when Grant got the job, Grant Lane, and his first 6 years were spent in Ellenwood, watching his dad grow up coaching Ellenwood basketball. 18 years later, he's back at Ellenwood High School as a head basketball coach. What a neat story that is.
So we having a preview out, or you've been working on that?
Yeah, working on it. Yeah, it'll be out this week, and just wrapping things up and getting all the things squared away. I think it just maybe got one wrestling roster I need, and pretty much put it to bed here in the next day or two.
Basketball, who are your teams, boys and girls, that you're eyeing that are potential teams that could do some really good things this year?
Well, when I saw the championship game between Central Plains and St. John girls last year, I said, man, this St. John team, they are young and good. So St. John is certainly a team to watch. They're still very young. I think they've got one senior, one junior, but they're really good players. They're sophomores and junior, sophomores and freshmen. So that's a team to watch out for. And then certainly Great Bend boys and girls will be very competitive. I expect them both. They've been hovering around 500 more or less, and I expect them to make a big step up this year. They both have great quality depth and good balance in their lineups, and some good young players coming up. So those good Great Bend teams will be good. We'll see how much Maxville boys slip, but I still expect Glenwood boys to be competitive. They'll still be decent, and outside of that, I'm not quite sure about anybody else necessarily.
Well, lacrosse might be.
Yeah, lacrosse will be very competitive. Yeah, they'll certainly battle for the Central Prairie League with Maxville and maybe Ellenwood.
Central Plains girls?
Yeah, they've got 2 players injured out for the year already, so that's not necessarily fine. And especially when their depth had gotten less than it used to be, they'll still be competitive. They've got one of the best coaches around, so Coach Stiles, they won't be scoring a bunch of points this year. They'll keep the score down and control the game with their tempo. So, yeah, they'll still be a competitive team. They just don't have a lot of options off the bench and with depth and the kind of things that they've had, because they've been able to play whatever game they want, fast or slow, pressure or not. And so their efficiency is knocked down a little bit because they lost 2 players who would have played for them this year.
Jim, appreciate the update, and we will talk to you next week, hopefully in studio, okay?
Okay, we'll make it next week.
Okay. Appreciate it, Jim.
Thank you.
Jim Mazunas joining us here on Sports Day. It's brought to you in part by Equity Bank. We're right here beside you, equitybank.com, and in part by Venture Corporation, reminding you to help a neighbor shop local when you can. Sports Day rolling on right after this.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
Love your phone but tired of your current provider? Bring your device to Nextech Wireless and experience wireless built by Kansans for Kansans. For a limited time, get 4 lines with unlimited data for $100. Have questions? Call or text our local customer care team at 877-621-2600. Nextech Wireless. Home on the range.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
Hi, my name is Dalton Jones, a patient that I helped. She came in with chronic back pain that she'd been having for years. After several weeks of showing her exercises, several different interventions, we were able to get her back to where she can do her shopping without leaning on the shopping cart at all.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Zach Strite, commercial lender for Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
Barton Community College helped me get a jump start on college with early college opportunities. With Barton's help, I earned my degree at the same time I graduated from high school. You can take classes on campus, online, and even at your high school with teachers you already know. With tuition rates starting at $50 per credit hour for select Kansas high school audiences and scholarship opportunities, it is easier than ever. Barton Community College helped me get one step closer to my dream, and it can help you too. Learn more at highschool.bartoncccc.edu.
Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department. Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Sports Day also brought to you in part by the Barton Cougar Booster Club, continuing their efforts to make the Barton Athletic Department the best in the country. I heard Mike Hesher yawning a little bit ago. That's the only thing he's uttered on this entire show today. Hesh, all right?
Questionable.
Long weekend?
The radio stations did not cooperate over the weekend. Can I put it that way? But I will tell you the one thing that I saw cool yesterday. Hoisington obviously plays in the championship game on Saturday, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to ask Kyle Haxton what do they do? You know, do they give him a couple days off or not? I go to work out at the activity center yesterday, 1 o'clock. 3/4 of the boys' basketball team was up there playing basketball yesterday afternoon. So they got over their loss pretty quick.
Well, they don't have much time.
They don't have time. They got a week. They play Friday night.
They play Friday night against Scott City.
Correct.
Then a week from tomorrow. No, is it a Monday or
it's a week from Monday? They start the Katy Classic.
They'll be taking on South Central,
exactly.
another team that has.
I thought it was ironic that they played in the state championship game as well. So it'll be interesting.
Last time that Coldwater was in the state championship game was 1985, and it snowed. And then Coldwater South Central.
Whenever Coldwater makes it, it snows. It's just a sign.
We'll be better prepared next year. South Central with a young team, they could have everybody back.
What do you got there? We got to get a picture of that.
Okay, hold that up there.
Okay, hold on.
This is it's starting to.
Oh, that's pretty good right there.
It's starting to become real that Steve Divis is retiring. He's starting to hand out, all his memorabilia and things. This was a Big 7 football broadcast on KVGB, 1590, 5,000 watts. And I think, what year was that? Divis told me one time when it was. But
it didn't matter. Okay.
September.
I believe if the dates on the back are to be believed, it's from 1949.
Okay, 1949, KVGB was bringing you college football on the weekends. Big 7 football broadcast. And that year, 1949, we opened the season with TCU against Kansas. Then on October 1st, we brought you Colorado against Kansas State. October 8th, we brought you Nebraska against Kansas. Boy, this is Kansas State heavy. Okay, Big 7 broadcast. And then October 15th, it was Oklahoma against KU. October 29th, Kansas against Kansas State. And then October 22nd. Let me see if you're in sales here. Let me see that here, Aaron. Go ahead and hand that thing back over here. Yeah, it's right there. 1949. Kansas went 5-5 in the Big 7, or 5-5 overall. They were 2-4 in the Big 7. They were coached by J.V. Sykes. Kansas State in 1949 opened the season with a 55-0 win over Fort Hays State. Then beat Colorado 27-13. Then lost every game the rest of the season. They ended the year on an 8-game losing streak.
I was going to say, look at the Sunflower Showdown from that match. Yeah. Sunflower Showdown from that year.
That's when KU got the big lead in the series. They won that year 38-0. Big 7 broadcast on KVGB, brought to you in part by J.W. Henkel Lumber and Hardware Company, Bemis Tractor Service, C&W Machine Works, Coffee Drilling Company, Galen E. Howell Agency, Kirk Stamper Motor Company, J.D. Farrell Drilling Company, and Schartz Implement Company, and Associated Butler Steel Building Dealers. Get out there and see if those people want to sponsor the bowl season coming up, Aaron.
See if they want to sponsor
These businesses are ready to advertise right now. Hey, let's see. Matt Westerhouse on the show tomorrow.